ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯃꯤꯡ ꯎꯁꯝ ꯅꯤꯡꯊꯧꯈꯣꯝꯕ ꯃꯤꯇꯩ ꯑꯩ ꯏꯪꯂꯤꯁꯀꯤ ꯑꯣꯖꯥꯅꯤ. Hi everyone, today we'll be discussing about a story written by Hector Hugh Munro ko mai maming je ngasai mana pen name oina Saki hena hai ko ada magi keno se wari si maming na The Open Window. The Open Window, actually our story starts with Mr. Frampton Nuttall ko. Mr. Frampton Nuttall, he was sick. Mazi nare. Kedogi nare no some kind of mental illness amalai ko. He was having some depression, some anxieties. Then doctors ordered him complete rest in a quiet place, somewhere in a country. So here, by saying country, I mean a village area, which is very far away from the noisy city. India, Japan, chugumba countries in that. When I say country, it means a village area very far away from the city, and which is very peaceful. I'm the peaceful. So his sister advised him to go to a village where she had stayed 4 years before. Chahi marigi mamangda mana leramba village amalay. So to adugi village suda you go there, have a peaceful stay and mana hai kong saigi magi brother sida. So who was the brother? Mr. Frampton Nuttall. So she had met some very nice people when she was there, and she would give him letters of introductions to them. So which means that she would write letters to the villagers introducing that he is her brother. Mase magi brother ni haidan introduced over letter among piraga nambucha hangen hainigo. She also told him to visit a lady named Mrs. Sappleton. So he went to stay to the village. Magi brother, Mr. Frampton Nuttall, went to the village to stay there. And one afternoon, he paid a visit to Mrs. Sappleton, as he was told by his sister, Magi sister na habudumaina ko. So there, he met a girl of about 15 years, chahi tara mga suraba adugumbagi angang ni pima cham kak thengni ko. So she was the niece of Mrs. Sappleton. She spoke in a grown-up manner, as if she was an adult. After sitting in silence for a while, the girl asked, "Do you know many of the people living here?" So he answered, "No, I don't know anyone." Actually, he don't even know Mrs. Sappleton. He didn't even know about her. Then the girl told him that a very sad thing happened to Mrs. Sappleton 3 years before. That means 1 year after his sister left the village. Remember, his sister went to the village, stayed there 4 years back. So the girl then pointed to an open window. Open window point away and said, "You may wonder why we keep that window wide open on an October afternoon." So she was trying to make a point that October is actually cold in their country, and it was unusual to have the window open like that in the afternoon. Afternoon matamda da madugumba window se adum open tor thamibodo. It was very unusual ko, and she wanted to point out that one ko. Then Frampton said, "Oh, it's okay ko. The weather is not so bad. It is mild ko. Mild level weather ni kesu yam na ingba kesu yam adumain tog de ko. It was not so hard ko." So, but he asked if there was any connection with the opening of the window and the sadness of the sorrow of Mrs. Sappleton ko. Mrs. Sappleton magi auntie haitare ko. Magi aunt ki duga awabo duga sadness, sorrow duga. Then the opening of the window, is there any connection na naman hangi? The girl answered, "Oh, out through that window, 3 years ago on this day, today, her husband and her 2 younger brothers went off to the moors for a day's shooting." Ngasai window sidagi ko thap na haitare ne. Window sidagi ngasai magi husband, magi 2 brothers, so all of them 3 ko. Duga mo gi hui amag yawe hare khini horeng ko ko mo isi kaido chakhiba. They went for a shooting on this day 3 years ago. So here, moor haidika, MOOR, moor haitaragadi, it's an open land where no crops are grown or cultivated, but many wild plants or grass can grow there. So to such a kind of place, Mrs. Sappleton's husband and her 2 younger brothers went off for a shooting. No make up a check. So, but they never came back. The girl repeated with a shaking voice. With a voice shaking. Shaking voice means the type of voice which you have when you are about to cry. Shaking voice. She said, they never came back. So those people, husband and the brothers, they never came back. She told Frampton Nuttall that they all fall into a bog. And what do you mean by bog? Bog means a kind of wet, muddy ground. And if you look it from a distance, you may feel like, oh, it's a normal ground, but just a bit covered with mud. But once you step into it, it will swallow you up. It will not carry your weight. To carry. So they fall into a bog and got themselves killed. So all three of them and their brown dog too. Brown dog and their bodies were never found. She was very emotional and sad while telling this story of her aunt to Frampton Nuttall. Frampton Nuttall haiba nupasida magi auntie magi aunt ki wari mayam sabat libaje. Shigi wari liba matamsida she was very emotional, she was very sad. And the girl continued, oh, poor aunts. She thinks that they'll come back one day. They and the little brown dog. All the time she's expecting them to walk in through that window as they always used to. As they have always done, she is expecting her husband and her brothers to come back through that window. She is still waiting. So that is why she leaves the window open even on cold days until it gets dark. Until it gets dark, night with dark with the windows with an expectation that her husband and her brothers will come back. So Mr. Frampton Nuttall was speechless. He was not able to find any kind of words to express what he was feeling or what he felt. The girl continued, poor dear aunt, how often she has told me how they left the house that terrible day, that very, very bad day. Her husband was carrying his white raincoat over his right shoulder. And Ronnie, her youngest brother, was singing a song. Magi youngest brother, Ronnie Kawe, and Ronnie was singing a song. Just to annoy her, because his singing always got on her nerves. Not a good voice. That is why he kept on singing just to annoy his sister. So just after saying this thing, she paused. She paused, and Frampton was silent, feeling tongue-tied. So in front of this tragedy, in front of this sad story, Frampton was feeling tongue-tied, and tongue-tied means the situation where you find yourself difficult or confused what to say and how to say. That is called. Then she said she knew the husband, the brothers, and the dog. All of them were dead. She knew that her husband was dead. She knew that her brother was dead. But still, since her aunt believed that they will surely come back one day, she also began to think. She also thought that one day they might come back. And while saying this, she was shaking with fear. And there was a kind of awkward atmosphere. But everything was paused. Then Mr. Sepleton came into the room. Mr. Sepleton and said sorry for keeping him waiting. Then she further said, please don't mind the window being open. Mr. Sepleton, brightly, very happily, she said to Mr. Frampton Nuttall to not to mind if the window is open. She also said that her husband, her two brothers will come back at any time. At any time means maybe now, maybe later. So she continued telling how they would enter the house with boots covered with mud, because since they have went for shooting, that is why their boots will be covered with mud. And Mrs. Sepleton sounded really weird, since she was talking about her husband, her brothers, as if they were really alive. And if they were really going to come back that evening, it was very weird. To Frampton, it was all quite terrible. Frampton nataldadi madu mayamda yamna terrible, very bad experience, very awful experience. And he was not in a state to listen to the poor lady because he thought that she was clearly out of her mind. She is mad. She has gone mad. Then she was very depressed due to her husband's and brother's death. Magi nupa sihiba, manang passing sihiba dugi wakanda na masing ngauri na khale. So he tried to change her mind, but all the time he was talking, the poor lady was only half listening to him. It means she was not listening to him properly. Akoina kahitare ni kari gumba wa mangang bumatamda tadi taning draga taning basu saraga sumtam tam kitang kabak kabak ta to politana ko. Just like that, she was acting. Then her eyes were constantly staring to the open window. Thongnao hang libo thongnao the mun adum yeng lai thokre buka. Even though she pretended she was listening to him ko mangon tari ni khalaga su ko aduga ngasai thongnao du yeng lai kre thongnao di mamang the lawn amalay. Lawn means an open area where we have in front of our houses sumang gi type ta ko apak palam hangum malay but the man yeng lai ko. Frampton thought talking about his illness will divert his mind because he came there to cure his illness. Maji nung wakhal nungai ragi peaceful over village the lay daga la ini dana ko aduna. That is why he started talking about his illness to divert the mind of Mrs. Sappleton. Then suddenly Mrs. Sappleton's face brightened and cried, "Oh, here they are at last. Oh, moi lai dana sine ko. Just in time for tea. Cha tha amdai timing sa chapek chana lai ko, and all covered in mud ko like khom lo in tere lai hai." Frampton trembled because he was not expecting those. He thought she was seeing things that were not there. Maduda talked about like later behind ko pot mayama maji mamitana ure wakan sagalaga uraba malen khaleba. He thought that she was hallucinating. Then he looked across at the niece, the young girl. There was an expression of horror on her face also. She looked afraid. This girl looked afraid. Then Frampton turned round and looked in the same direction. To which Mr. Sappleton was looking, to which the girl was looking. Then Frampton, in a growing darkness, three figures were walking over the lawn towards the window. Figure ahum khakche ko thongnau dagi nakan dagi moi thongnau dagi ure ko amambar mark in the darkness thore e moi ko figure ahum ure. And shiki figure ahum je mi man ba ahum je kai dogi hamatam da they were all carrying guns under their arms, and one of them had a white raincoat white machugi amakak yale kadom da to on his right shoulder. Then a tired brown dog followed them at their heels. Makogi kong maya da do the hui macha amaka brown machugi ko brown color dog amaka inner eba. Near they came, walking in silence. It was them, her dead husband, her brothers, all three of them were coming in. Frampton was trembling with fear. Frampton he was shaking. Then suddenly a young voice started singing. Yes, it was her brother, Ronnie. Then Frampton rushed out of the room as if he were escaping from a house on fire. The man with the white coat came in. Yes, he was the husband. He was alive, and he was not dead. Neither the two brothers and the dog. They were all alive. And he asked, "Who was that man who ran out as we came in?" Mr. Sappleton answered, "Oh, a strange man called Mr. Nuttall. Oh, Mr. Nuttall he was here all the time talking about his illness. And then he went out without even saying a goodbye. Anybody would think that he had seen a ghost. People will think that he has seen a ghost. Then her niece, the young girl, she said, "Oh, I expect it was the dog." Which means she believed that it could be because of the dog that he ran away. So to our surprise, she made up a fake story. She said that before her aunt came down, he was telling that he had terrible fear of dogs. To all the people present there, the young girl said Frampton Nuttall was telling her that he had a terrible fear of dogs. When he was in India, when Frampton Nuttall was in India, a pack of wild dogs, a group of dogs, chased him, ran after him into a graveyard. They reached a graveyard, and he had to spend the night in a newly dug grave with those dogs above his head. And he had to spend the night in a newly dug grave. And she told everybody that that was enough to frighten anybody for a lifetime. Punchi chupagi thodo aduna maram raga punchi chupagi mi haibase hui ki badudi mahu shani hai ko. See, the girl was very clever at making up stories on the spur of the moment, right on the spot without even thinking. So first, she was fooling Mr. Frampton, saying that the husband and the brothers got killed themselves 3 years back. And now after she had frightened away Mr. Frampton she was covering herself with another fake story of dogs chasing Mr. Frampton, which never happened in real life. I hope you enjoy the story.